Marco Colbert, Speedokote Finish Network. All right, guys, this episode is partially sponsored by Giraffe Tools. They got some of the best retractables in the business. They have the cheapest, most affordable wall-mounted pressure washer in the entire world. Very cool. You should check them out. They sent us this Giraffe Tools. It's a retractable air hose reel. It's very easy to mount. You can actually mount it right to wood. These are some self-tapping screws with washers. And it is very stable. Like, it's not coming off there. This is, I believe, their 50-foot model. So it can go pretty much the whole span of the back of my body shop. And when I'm done, give it a little tug, goes right back in the wall. Very clean. As you guys can see, it's Monday, it's a little mess in here. But we're trying to go for a much cleaner look at our shop, much more professional look. So if you guys are trying to get your shop looking super professional and nice like this, some tools you definitely want to buy are retractables. We have their retractable air hose reel, and we also have their retractable, electrical cord. So we're running retractables now. It just keeps the shop a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. Not a bunch of stuff laying on the floor. Giraffe Tools, buy it. I'll put a link in the description. All right, so normally I don't film jobs like this. However, I was getting a lot of questions on my live feed last night. Everybody was asking me, hey, Marco, is there a big difference between 2-to-1 clears and 1-to-1 clears? Well, I'm going to show you guys today what the difference is. So as you guys that know, especially for used car work, I spray a variety of different base coats. For bigger jobs like bedsides and stuff like that, we've got our Nason full base. Now, those of you guys in the paint world know this stuff is a little bit watered down. It's a 2-to-1 mix. So they already did some of the watering down for you before they put it in that nice little shiny can. But is it going to lack coverage? Now, that can depend on a couple things. Color, what your ground coat is, the area you're painting, your PSI, your pressure, how wet you're putting the paint down. All that stuff can play a factor. I ain't getting into all that today. All we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, load up the Mark 1 Eco. We're going to go ahead, mix it exactly to spec, 2-to-1, and I'm going to show on film how fast it covers. Alright, so this video just got very interesting. So, as you guys can see, we ordered the wrong color. So to make it even more interesting for you guys, so we started with Nason 1-to-1 base, or excuse me, 2-to-1 base. Now we're going up a level in paint quality. We are now going with the Matrix. So for those of you guys that don't know, in the paint world, Nason is the cheapest of the cheap. Like, you usually find a lot of like used car dealers or in the back parking lot, like putting that stuff on. It's garbage. I mean, it's good paint, but the match is like no, and the coverage is, as you guys can see from the video footage, not good. Now we got Matrix. Okay, now as I commented on Triggerman's most recent video, Matrix is one of those base coats that you can get most of your coverage in the first coat. PPG JBP, the Plus, you can get most of your coverage in the first coat. Speedokote Color, our new base coat line, you can get most of your coverage in the first coat. Matrix is one of the paints on the market that is actually, this is one of the cheapest paints on the market that you can mix up and you can actually get full coverage, almost full coverage in one coat, from my personal experience, and also depending on the color. Now, if this was still in primer, would I be going for full coverage on the first coat? Possibly not. It all depends on the repair. So repairs like, Brian just did a video on this, Brian from Inside just did a video on this a couple days ago, and he talked about, you know, when you got that primer, that edge, you want to kind of go light on that edge and kind of slowly introduce the paint into the area. Because if you go really heavy with certain solvent-based paints, you go really heavy on the first coat, and that primer feather edge will halo. Okay, it'll kind of like crinkle up, and you're not going to really see it too much. And sometimes you can clear right over it, and you won't even really notice. But because there is no primer here, this is basically a flow coat. We can really go as wet as we want on the first coat and get full coverage in one coat, most likely. And this is just a classic situation of, you know, paint awareness, situational awareness. What are you spraying over, okay? If you're trying to achieve full coverage in the first coat, what are you spraying over? Are you spraying a red? Are you spraying a candy blue? Are you spraying like a, you know, something of that nature? What are you spraying? What are you spraying over? We're spraying over clear coat. So this is good to go. We can smack that stuff on as wet as we want. This surface is not going to have a solvent reaction. What's going to get you guys is this. Like I said, if you got primer edges and you're doing spot work and you got that primer edge and you didn't put primer seal over it, like I don't do that most of the time, and you go really heavy on that first coat, it will react depending on the paint. Depending on the paint. Speedokote paint, I've gotten lucky, and that paint doesn't halo almost at all. Other paints like PPG, Shopline, the bottom of the barrel, you'll get halos. So anyways, I'm actually really excited because my screw up as a painter, I got the wrong code. It's way off. It allowed me to actually show you guys two paints in one video and let you guys see the coverage difference. Even though this is costing me more money, so I'm hoping you guys view the heck out of this video to make my money back on all this paint I just bought. You guys are going to get to see the coverage difference. So let's put the camera down. We got some matrix already mixed up in the gun. Let's spray.
All right, so as you guys can see, this is the paint match after we pulled the tape on the first go around. Not too good. So, like I said in the video, I'm glad I got to show you guys on video the direct difference between these two paints and how well they cover. So what did we actually learn from this video? What did Marco Colbert from Speedokote Refinish Network show you guys as a painter? Okay, what I showed you guys is this. Is it really worth, and this is somewhat opinionated as well, is it really worth spending, you know, the extra 40 bucks on a slightly higher quality quart of base? Okay, this quart of base is around $120. A quart of Nason is about 80 bucks. So is it really worth the extra 40 bucks? And you know what? My answer is going to be absolutely. Okay, guys, think about it. Every time you do a coat of paint on each one of these bedsides, that is your labor. That is your time. Okay, so while you might be saving 40 bucks on the front end, it is going to cost you and your body shop hours on the back end with how much time it's going to take to now paint projects in your shop. You know, this Nason requires about 2.5 to 3 coats of paint. This Matrix with medium reducer, you can get it pretty much covered in 1 coat. You do your first coat, you know, kind of, you know, medium wet, and then you kind of just blow some air on it, and then you do your drop coat immediately after, and it covers. So less labor, less time, less wear and tear in your body. Guys, get more expensive paint. All right, don't be foolish and you know, ridiculously cheap. Just pay the extra money, get some good base. So. But all right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's video. I hope you guys learned so much from this and comparison of the different paints. Like, subscribe, new videos every week.